I hear the call of the stars.
G'day guys, Duckville here. Welcome to a replay from the Korean ladder. I know it has been a little bit of a long time since I put some casts up, so I'm going to try and crank out a few for you guys and make sure there is some content to look at. But obviously just recently I've been doing a couple of the MLG replays. You can jump onto MajorLeagueGaming.com and have a quick look in the section there for the offline open bracket cast, something like that. You can find it yourself. You're pretty clever folks. But yeah, just been doing some of those games, and they are very, very cool, especially the White Ra versus Gimmicks games. Go have a quick look at them as well. But meanwhile, we're back to the Korean ladder here. We're on a new map today. In fact, I don't think I've actually done a cast on this map on my particular channel, but this is going to be a Zerg versus Protoss, as we can see, just over here at the sort of the 2 o'clock sort of right hand side of Antiga Shipyard. We actually have our Zerg player by the very creative name of Zerg. I'm very thankful this guy's name is Zerg and not something in Korean, so I don't have to get it translated or translate it myself, or something ridiculous like that dude whose name was Terran and he actually played Zerg, which just got all sorts of confusing. But down here, his opponent at the sort of 5:30 sort of position is IOvShinyStar. Now he's spawned down here in this particular position on this map. I'm not actually a huge fan of this particular type of wall in, but there are various ways for a Protoss to wall in this particular map. Now my way of doing it is actually putting a pylon here, and then you put a forge here, and then your Nexus goes right there, and it is all flush and beautiful and absolutely sexy, and that's one way you can do it. Obviously Shynystar is going to do it a little bit differently. Now of course, being a high level Korean, he may have a better idea of how to do it than I do, but we'll see what he does. He's going to go for the fast Nexus there, just hitting the Nexus up straight away, because it is a very big map and Zerg generally do like to expand pretty quickly here. But as we can see, we have Zerg actually going for the spawning pool just straight up, and then the gas as well. He isn't actually getting ready to take that expansion, but he is building up a few minerals, so he may intend to take that quite soon, but we'll see what he gets up to. The other options for walling off, apart from this particular version, which we'll see from Shynystar, and my own version, where you just go straight across there, is also to come up here to the ramp that leads into your natural expansion, which is quite a big ramp, but you can wall this one off as well, either by putting a pylon around about here, and then sort of making a semi-wall there and just sort of blocking it off with a zealot, or you can do like a pylon infused wall, where you have the pylon and then the gate and then the cyber and then another pylon if you want to, which some people do on Tal'Darim Altar. So that's a couple of ways which you can wall off on this map. I suppose it's dependent on your particular style until this map sort of really gets figured out, because of course after time there is a point where there generally are ways at which walling off is sort of found to be the most optimal way. So there are advantages of course to doing it this particular way, where you're walling off at this point here. Means you don't actually have to travel as far to defend the wall if required, and also of course it means that it takes a little bit less time as well for your probes to get over there and build things as well. But speaking of buildings, we do have a couple exposed just at the front there, but the cannon is well protected there, is providing some protection I should say. And speaking of protection, just along the back here, this is a little bit of trouble for some Protoss players depending on how you wall, is that there is this path just along the back here, which of course means that you're going to have to either put your cannon in a very awkward spot somewhere like down here, which means of course that you can't defend up here, or you're going to have to do what Shynystar has done here and put down 2 cannons. And I'm pretty sure this is pretty much the optimal way to defend if you are going to wall off down here at the natural expansion and not up at the ramp. So we'll see what Shynystar gets up to here with this particular play. He is pumping away those probes. Look at that, currently sitting at 29 probes to the 24 drones of Zerg. And now we have a quick look back up at Zerg's base. He's sticking with that one gas for the time being. He does have some transfers going on. He's got this natural expansion. The lair is going up quite quickly there. Got a queen over here as well to make sure that he's utilizing the lava injector, make sure he can punch out some units pretty quickly if required. Speed is done, and we do have only these 2 lings out of the front here, so Shynystar is not going to have to bother too much about defending the front at all here, and in fact going to put the cybernetics core down here at the site. Actually, I really like that, putting the cyber down here just to protect that site. That's actually quite clever. But the one small problem you may have, oh no, it's not actually blocking, is it? Because the probes, I was going to say the probes might have a bit of trouble getting to the Nexus with the cannon there, but that's actually fine. And just this one here, is that optimal? Yes, it is. The probes are going straight in and then coming straight out. So, meanwhile, back at Zerg's base, we've got him just getting those overlords, making sure he's not getting supply capped. Obviously, a good sign of a very good player, making sure that you're not getting capped at all. And he is doing a good job with his lava injects, as we can see right there. So he's doing a good job in the economy stakes. We can see slowly just catching up there to the probes of Shiny-Star, now taking the third and the fourth gas over here as well. Did have that second one taken just a moment ago. The infestation pit goes up straight away because he is scouting out, and he can see that there are just the standard sort of building placements here for the moment, but now we do see that Shiny-Star, being aware that the Overlord is actually out of position to spot these gateways, has actually built the gates over here just to make sure that his opponent doesn't see that there is some kind of tech like that coming. But the Overlord would have seen this Twilight Council, so the tech that Zerg is actually going for just at the moment, the Infestors, will actually be really good to counter both sorts of the primary elements that come out of the Twilight Council, being the Blink Stalkers and sometimes a switch into DT tech. So he's now getting a Spore Crawler here, as we can see, just to make sure, as we mentioned, the DTs are detected easily, not to mention the pathogen glands is on the way for those infestors. So once that gets to, I think it's around about halfway done, that's when you can start building your infestors, and they'll actually spawn with that extra energy as well. So he will be able to defend against, I would assume, what is probably going to be some sort of Blink Stalker attack. And now we actually see Shiny-Star getting an extra 3 gates here as well, so he's now going to be up to 7 in just a moment. Still at the moment only whooping in sentries. Obviously sentries a key part of the Protoss arsenal during the early parts of the game, and sometimes in the late, of course, depending on how your opponent is playing it. But we do see that Blink is now being researched as well, and Zerg is now attempting to take a third. So this is going to switch into perhaps a little bit of a macro game for Zerg. He is going to have to be very careful of these 7 gates, which will start popping out some Stalkers, I would assume. Here they go, along with a potential push here. Is this going to involve? It is going to involve a pylon being placed up here at the top of the ramp. Now, one thing about taking this third base here is that you put your Nexus down here, and then you can be sort of flanked by these destructible debris if they get taken down by your opponent. As a Protoss, what you can do is put down a gate here, put another one here, and then another one around about there or so. But do keep in mind, that's not a full wall off, so you do have to be careful about other things coming through in the side part there. But this map is really, really difficult to play as a Zerg if you actually spawn in the sort of the closer air spots. As we can see here, if Zerg had have actually spawned over here in this particular position, his third would actually be here, and that is really hard for a player to take, because you can, of course, use you can use some Void Rays, you can march along with an army and then just blast up this ramp and destroy the Zerg third, so it is very difficult to take that. The offsets to that are, of course, that the golds are in the middle, and the golds can be kind of easy to take. As we can see here, you do have Shiny-Star just cleaning up some of these creep tumors, which are just littering the front door of Zerg there, but he is going to be able to clean up some of them. He'll probably have to rebuild these if he wants to utilize the speed of his units as optimally as possible. But now, Blink Stalkers are on the field at the moment. A fungal goes down. These Lings are going to have to be running around them, and they do indeed. Going to have to be careful. There are some sentries here. He could capture all of these Lings if he's not careful. In fact, captures those Infestors. Those Infestors are going to be a big hit here. Fungal's going down on top of the sentries. Sentries being absolutely annihilated. But now the Blink Stalkers will be able to take care of those Infestors, and that takes the Infestor count way back down to 2 for Zerg. So he's going to have to rebuild some of those. He does have one on the way, along with Neural Parasite, in fact, is coming through as well. So he's going to be well prepared to take the Colossus tech if that is indeed coming here from Shiny-Star. We do see a second robotics facility is being constructed there, and the robotics bay is now done. We may see a double Colossus get started soon, but we'll have to wait until this economy just picks up a tiny bit. He may need just a little bit extra there to make sure that he's able to get these double Colossus out. But a beautiful double Robo switch in there for Shiny-Star, so he's going to have a lot of potential to just absolutely demolish those ground forces of Zerg if he comes into play with these very heavy Ling style plays, which he does look like he's going for. A little bit surprised we don't actually have a Baneling Nest here. We have seen from time to time Baneling drops being used against Protoss to very, very good effect, and of course you can utilize them with the infestors and their fungal growth to actually just immobilize stalkers and zealots and that sort of thing, and then just roll through them with banelings. So we'll see if Zerg is actually going to go along that particular path, but at the moment he will, as we mentioned, have to contend with these Colossus, which are probably going to start coming out in greater numbers, of course. An Overseer just popping through, just saying hi. The backdoor debris is under attack at the third base of Shynystar there. The Lings are now pushing through the side. There are two Colossus here, so they're going to have to be very careful along with these Zealots at the front as well. But it looks as if he is going to pull back for the moment here. A probe is somehow sneakily headed up here to the third base of Zerg and has got a pylon in place. Perhaps if he can get an observer across, or perhaps an hallucinated unit maybe, he could be able to warp in some units there. But let's just have a quick look at what the tech is doing for Shynystar. He does have a Templar Archives there. No Storm tech just yet. He maybe just be using those Templar for the Archons, and he is getting a whole heap of Colossus coming out soon. They do have +2 to their weapons. They don't have any other upgrades just at the moment, but they will be doing a lot of damage. And now we do see we've got this observer just popping in the front door there. Fungal growth getting misplaced, but it does get a second one down. This should actually get rid of the observer once he puts the second one. There he goes. And that is good anti-intelligence work there by Zerg to take out that observer and make sure that there were no warp-ins here. I'm not sure if he's actually aware. Is he aware of that? No, he's not just yet aware of that pylon down there to the side, but he will have to be careful of that sort of thing if he does spot it. Now, the tech for Zerg is currently sitting still at the lair tech. As we can see, the hive is now morphing in. We've got a lot of units now coming through. 42 Zerglings along with 3 more infestors on the way. We have a couple of overseers out on the map, just making sure that he is protected against DTs, and now looking to take the 4th. This is kind of the difficult part of playing this map as a Zerg, especially against a Protoss, is if you come across to this 4th base and you have something like DTs or something in the base actually coming in, you have to go all the way around this sort of side of the map and to get into here, and that takes a lot of time. And now, of course, we'll get to the gold base in just a second. It looks as if there is going to be a battle here. We've got Infestors, Lings, and that is actually about it for Zerg at the moment. Putting down some Fungals on top of the Zerglings there. The Colossus down the back have been taken by the Neural Parasite. In fact, only 2 of them have survived. 3 are still being taken control of by those Infestors. Really surprised that Zerg has left those, has had those going up that whole time, but now the mix is a very, very powerful there's 4 Archons in fact underneath those Colossus, and that with that Colossus mix he'll be something to contend with indeed. The 4th base does get cancelled here by Zerg. He did have a couple of Zealots to contend with there. Now warping in Templar, going to get some more Archons there. This Archon mix is going to get absolutely huge in just a moment. 3 Ultralisks are on the way though for Zerg. He may be able to fight back with some of those Ultralisks, but those Archons are incredibly powerful against the Ultralisks, especially with the Colossus there to back up. A probe there trying to take out that Spine Crawler doesn't do a good job, but Fungal goes down. The Infestors will have to be very careful because, of course, the Colossus with their extended thermal lance will be able to blast them from long range, and indeed they do. And that is it for Zerg. He's taken out by this very heavy tech mix here by Shynystar. So we see him just unfortunately, I would say perhaps just not utilizing perhaps the units he could have. Perhaps some Banelings would have helped out, but it looks as if he did go for that Ultralist tech pretty quickly there, and on 3 base it makes it a little bit hard to utilize other units. But good game there by Shynystar to take that one down, and we'll go and see some more games in the